Hi guys, welcome to this session on Microsoft Outlook. In this module, we're going to look at the main elements that you get when you open Microsoft Outlook. So first of all, you get the default screen, which you can change, so it's not always going to be this one, which I've got mine set to open up into the email view. So this is showing me emails. Down the bottom, you've got a little taskbar. You can see it's on email there, look. You've also got in Outlook calendar, so this is a calendar view, and in calendar view you've got different options. You can select day, week, work week, month, or schedule view. It's normally on work week as default. You've also got down below contacts, where you can store your contact information, and then you've got tasks, where you can look at tasks that you may have created for yourself or been allocated by other people. You just create a new task. And then you've got these three ellipses where if you click on those, you've got notes, where you can create little post-it notes for yourself. Just click on new and then type away. Whatever you type there becomes a title. So that's just going to be rubbish. There you go. And in the ellipses also you've got folders and then shortcuts. So folders just basically shows you all your folders, which is what you've also got when you are in email. So these folders, I've called this migration. You've got these little down arrows. If I click on that, it's collapsed everything under migration, and you can see that you've got different lists hidden or not hidden depending on which way the arrow is pointing. So if I collapse all of that, you can then see different mailboxes. So I've got several different mailboxes. This is my main mailbox. But coming down, you've got one a PST file, which is like a separate storage area. So instead of being stored on the server, your emails are stored wherever you tell them to be stored. So that could still be on the server or a shared drive, but it could also be on this PC. And then I've got another mailbox, and then these are all PST files as well, and then another mailbox, and you can see how that process repeats all the way down. So normally, if you the first look at Outlook, you will just usually have one mailbox with an inbox, sent items, deleted items, draft, junk mail, etc., etc., outbox. These are all the default folders. So in there, I haven't got any folders that I've created because I've created this PST file where all my stuff is. It's totally up to you how you work this, but you could have all these files up here, all these emails. You could have these sitting underneath the inbox, but if you do that, they are taking up space on the server, and sometimes the IT department doesn't like that. But it's up to you, and you may well have a policy where you can't create these PST files because they might not get backed up if they're in the wrong location. If you've got them on a shared network drive or a network drive, it should be password protected. But that's the main elements, and you've got ribbons across the top for each of these categories. So calendar, that's all to do with the calendar. Contacts is all to do with the contacts, and tasks is all to do with tasks. So mainly, most people use Outlook for either their email or their calendar. They're the main heavy hitters. There are other tools for tasks, other programs that people might use for tasks, but I quite like using Outlook tasks, and contacts is what it says on the tin. So that's basically what Outlook is in its basic form, and obviously there's lots and lots of stuff you can drill into as you get into Outlook in more detail. But in this module, I want to have a quick look at how to send an email and how to reply to an email. So first of all, I've got some training accounts set up here. I'm going to select new mail from the top, and then I get the new mail dialog box appearing, which gives me some options. So it's telling me it's from me, and I need to address it to somebody. So I'll address it to my training accounts. Now you've got CC, which means carbon copy, and BCC. There, if you want somebody else to receive this email, you can select them from this. So I'll put that in there, send that. And if you don't want other people to know that certain people are going to get this, you can put them into this BCC. So when they receive the email, they won't see who else got that. So it's just going to me, and I'll delete that one now. Don't want to carbon copy that. And then your subject line, is going to be just test, and then you can just say hi, and then you type your message like so. Now I've got my signature block at the bottom here. That can be selected from your signatures. You might have more than one. That's just a plain one. That's a business one. And you can create your own by just going new and then typing what you want in this box and then saving it and giving it a name. And then you select how you want that to be used. So for me, I've got this one, which is called Sax, on new messages and on replies as well. So that's how that works, and the default is for it to be set to none. Click OK to that, send the email. It's doing a spell check for me because I just typed rubbish there, so I'll just ignore that. And again, and then that goes. Now, this is going to this email address, which is one of my training email addresses. If I click on that, I can wait for it to come down, or I can force it to come down by clicking on send and receive, and then that will go and click onto the server, and then you can see down the bottom here it's sending that, and we can wait for it or not. So I'm not going to wait for that. So now the email has come in, and you can see that that is from me, and you've got a preview pane on the right there where you've got reply to all, and forward. So I just want to reply to this, a simple reply. So clicking on reply, and then it addresses it straight away back to the person who sent it to you, and your address is at the top, and then you can type above this area. You've got a space to type, and you can put your message in there, and I'll just put thanks for that. And then this, you repeat the process. You just send this and it goes back to the originating person. So then that would come into this email box and you would see it there. So now you can see the mail has now popped up in this mailbox, you saying thank you or thanks for the mail that you received in this one. So it's just a click of a button to reply to a message. So if I wanted to reply again, I could click that and it would go back and forward between the two of you, and you can see the history of whatever you've sent in the actual message itself. So there's the initial message, and that's what you said. So that's how you send and receive an email and how you reply to an email. In this module, I want to have a look at mail options. So first of all, let's get a new email. So what I'm talking about is this tab here, options. These are the things that you can do to a mail individually. You can also change these in options under file, and this options and mail options there, which I'll come back to in a minute. So these ones, if you change these, they will be applied to all outgoing emails. But individually you can apply them. So for example, on this one you can see I've got the BCC field activated. So BCC stands for blind carbon copy as opposed to CCC, which is carbon copy. So if you're sending a multiple email to multiple recipients, you should put them in there so other people can't see who that email went to. If you put them in the CC line, everybody knows who else got this email. But looking across the top there, you've got some very simplistic options. So I've got this one. So I've added that. So when the person gets this message, they will get that voting option. So if I just send that to myself quickly, won't bother with the subject, you should see the voting options on the message coming in. So if I open that, you've got vote, approve or reject. I'll reject, send the response, okay, close this email down. So let's get a new email. So looking along the options tab, we've got the voting request, and then you can select these options. You want to read receipt,
a delivery report and a read receipt. This is under the tracking block. I'm just going to take that off. So that would be on an individual email, just this email. Now, a delivery report is when the email gets to the server, to the recipient server. So they have got no control over that. However, this one, read receipt, they do have control of that. They can opt out of sending that back to you. So that is a more accurate one. At least you know the server's picked it up. That one they can say no to, but you can have it on if you want. So I'll take them both off. Now this one, save sent replies, save sent items to, and they can designate a different folder than the default one, which is sent items. So you can just create another folder with different, or several folders with different names in. Delayed delivery. So if I want this message not to go out until last thing at 5 o'clock, I can set that in there, and then have replies directed to another person. So again, you could send a bulk email out at 5 o'clock on Friday and get all the replies sent to a colleague while you go on holiday. Now all of these are under the more options feature, and if I click on any one of these or this little arrow, it will take me into the options, and you can see there are a few the same sort of things, but a few more as well. So if I just go through these from the top, you've got importance, which is on normal. I don't know anybody that would put that onto low, but you've got that option. Sensitivity, you've got these options. Doesn't actually stop people opening this email, it's just an awareness that this is a confidential email. If you've got confidential emails in, you should be using security settings, which would be part of your company policies, and may also be third-party software. So don't ever think that by putting that to private or confidential, that is actually doing anything other than putting that word on an email. You've got the voting buttons there, which I've just done, and again you've got these two, so that's just a replica of what's on the ribbon, the tracking part of the ribbon. So you don't need to come in here to do that. There's have replies sent to, so what you would do there is you tick that, and then there's you, so one would come back to you, but then you add colleagues' names and they would appear there. So if you didn't want them to come back to you at all, you just get rid of your name out of that box. Tick that off. Do not deliver before a time, so you've got time related information. So this is set to today, don't deliver before 5 o'clock. So it might be a new product that's coming out at 5 o'clock and you're giving a sales email. So I don't want that, so I'll take that off. And similar to that, you could have it expiring at a certain time. So this is only valid, if I set this at 9 o'clock in the morning, this is only effective until 5 o'clock that day. And if this sits in somebody's inbox and it's after 5 o'clock, the email will have a line put through it. So anybody looking at that will see that it's no longer valid. I'll take that one. And there's the save copies of sent messages to the default folder, which I showed you up there. Down the bottom there, you've got your categories, which you would have to set up, which I've set up in my calendar. I did that earlier. So you can set this to whichever category you want, and the color comes up for it. You can add contacts to this from your contacts list, all of these to the mail. I'll just close that one off. Now, if I close this email down, not saving that, and go into options. So that was individual emails. Through mail options, this is going to be set for all emails. Here's something that you might want to have a think about. If you're going to be sending tables or images, you want to make sure you've got it on HTML or rich text, which is like Word. If you've got it on plain text, which a lot of companies do have, when you receive a table that's formatted in Word, it just comes as a big list. So it's very hard to read. So that's the default option that I always have. You've got spelling, always check spelling before you send. Always have that ticked. And then you've got spelling and autocorrect options that you can set up through this option here. there's the autocorrect options, similar to Word. Lots of different examples, plus you can add your own. Just OK that and close this down. OK it. So I've ticked spelling, check spelling before sending. You can have signatures. So this is one place that you can do signatures. So you can see that I've got 2 signatures and they're named, and you can have them on replies if you want. To create a signature, you just click on new and then type in whatever you want to be in the signature. So just click OK to that. So coming down, you've got stationery and fonts. I use conditional formatting and through views, through the view menu for my email. So things come up in different sizes, but you could also use this, themes, and change the themes for returning emails and things like that. I'm not going to do that. And then reading pane is what it says on the tin. And then these are just general options. You can just tick these on or off. But the ones that would then be permanent, these ones, open replies and forwards in a new window. Close the original message. That's what I want to tick on mine. And then you've got these options where you can, when replying, include the original text, etc., etc. The tracking options are right down the bottom. The delivery receipt. So if I tick that, that means every email I will get one of them. Likewise, if I tick that, every email I sent, I will get a read receipt. And I've got this set, which other people can also have set, never to send a read receipt. So they're not, even if you tick that and they've got that ticked, you're not going to get one. So it's a bit hit and miss whether you get one there, but you'll always get that. So that's a worthwhile one to have ticked if you're thinking people are just ignoring your emails or not getting them. Further down, some of the general options, but that'll do for now. I'll click OK to that. So back to the email, and there's the other place you can do signatures straight in the email itself. It brings you to the same box. Let's cancel that off. So options, you've got options on the front screen. If you want to color the email, you've got page color options there, and all these ones I've already gone through. That's in addition to all the normal things that you can do on your email through the other tabs across the top, and you can see business cards and things like that you can bring in, format text, embed documents, whatever you want, you can do all that. But this was just basically about these options and more options that you get through this box. But when you click these arrows, they always take you to the same place. So if you don't see it on the ribbon, it will be in this properties box. But that's all I want to talk about in this session, so hopefully it'll have been of use to you, and I'll see you in the next one. In this module, I want to have a look at the calendar and the calendar features. So on the screen, I've got a calendar. Across the top, on the Home tab, you've got lots of different tools that you can use to manipulate your calendar. The first bit I want to have a look at is these different views. So at the moment, I'm on week, which has got every day of the week, including the weekends. You've got work week, knocking Saturday and Sunday off, then day view and month view, whichever you find more suitable as a view for you. Scheduling views is where you've got multiple people working and you want to know whether they've got anything on at a particular time in the week or month. So I've put it back to the week view. Now to create an appointment, it's as simple as finding a timeline and double clicking, or you can go up to the top and click on new appointment or new meeting, and if you've got Microsoft Teams, Office 365, you can create a Teams meeting. So I'll do that in a second, but I'll just double click on this space and it's picked the timeline for me. So I'll call this a training event, and location will be Bradford. So you see when you type in that, it comes up with suggestions. There's 2 there, so I'll put that one. That's the one I want. And then I'll just have loads of options across the top. So I can categorize this. I'll put this as a training category, which I've got colored red if you go down to all categories, you can create your own, change these ones or add new ones or rename those. I've just renamed that one training. And it's not an all-day event. So an all-day event is an event, whereas this is an appointment, so it's got a time frame. You've got a recurring option there if you want this to be recurring weekly, say. And because I've selected this, now it's showing on my calendar. If anybody's looking at my calendar through the shared option, they would see me as being busy. You've got these other options in there that you can set. You've got meeting notes, Teams meeting if you want to do a Teams meeting, and you can invite people to this meeting. All these features are available across the top, and this bit on the right there, you've got, I can set this to private. What that will do is stop people looking at what you're doing. They won't see that title, they'll just see that you're busy. So they won't know it's a training event, they'll just see you are busy. Then you've got high and low importance, tags if you want. You can dictate, and your voice will type out whatever you say will be typed out in this area on the meeting. So I'll just save that one for now. There it appears. Now if you decide that you need to adjust this, you can double click back into it, or you can just sit your mouse on the bottom there and make that a little bit bigger. So I've extended the timeline. You can also copy this if you wanted that to be on Friday as well. I don't have to do the whole thing, I can just move it to Friday. But if I want it to be Friday and Thursday, I can do this. So I'm moving it, but now I'm holding my control key down. You can see a little plus come on the screen there. Now I'm letting go of my mouse and it's copied that event. Now to delete an event, you can just press delete and it will disappear. And obviously you've got undo. If you didn't mean to do that, you can undo that event. Now looking down this left hand side, you can see that I've got two different time frames. I've got the UK and I've got Spain active. So if you're working across the European continent or in the US in different time zones, you can have those time zones displayed down this left hand side. Now to do that, you need to go into options. So I'm going to options, and calendar options is where you need to go, and then you scroll down to the part that says time zones, and there's a title for the UK one, so you can see it behind these boxes there, and that's the UK time. And then the second one, Spain, so there's Madrid, that's Spain timeline, it's +1 from UK time. And you've got an option of doing a third timeline, but that's then starting to get a bit confusing. But you can, and you can also swap the time zones around, so these swap places. But that's how you put that time zone on there. So I'll just cancel that off. Now over on this left hand side, you've got some mini previews of calendars. If I click on any date, I'll quickly go to that date, so it's showing me that week. But if I click on a date, let's click on the 14th, that's today, and then hold my control key down and click on another date, and then another date, and then another date, what you're seeing is different dates coming in to this view. So if I go back into week view, that's probably a bit better, and I'll just do that again. So I'll click onto a date and I want to look at that one. So there's Wednesday the 21st, come on the top there. If I click on control key down again and click on the 5th, so now you've got Wednesday the 5th coming in there. So you can set this up to show however many dates you want, and if you want just to look at 2 weeks, you can look at 2 weeks like that. So I just highlighted them, and then those 2 weeks are showing side by side, one above the other. And then as soon as you click off that, it'll go back onto whatever view you've got at the top. So I'll put this back onto month view. So that is how you create a appointment or an event, and that's how you can copy and move them, and that's how you can select different dates. Now if I move this whole window across to make more space, what you'll get is more of these, so you're getting a bit more of a forecast. So on a laptop this is quite restrictive due to what you can see, but on a large monitor you could have a whole array of calendars showing on there. I can reduce this or move it up and down as well. So I'll just take that one back. so it sits like that. Now if I want a team meeting, if I double click, and let's say this is training in Derby, and I didn't use the location finder, I'll categorize this as red, so it's got red again. You can actually do that in conditional formatting settings on the view settings, so it automatically goes red. Not on this screen, on the previous screen. But if I now say I want this to be a team meeting, it gives you options here of who's required. So if I just send an email to myself that I'm required, but you can see everything's there for you to join this team meeting when this is sent. So I'll just send this, and then you can see it's already come on there, and I will get an email in my inbox, and I will respond. And then if I go back into this, you can see no responses have been received for this meeting yet, so I've not opened that email, I've not responded to it. So I'll just close this down. So if I go to the email, my email, and just refresh that screen, so I've got an email there. I've got conditional formatting on this to go red and large if it's a training event, but you can see what you get. So I will accept that. I'll just send the response. I don't want to edit it, so I'll send the response. And if I go back down to my calendars, so I'm in a different account, so that's my calendar there, but I'm in a different account. And if I double click on that again, and it's not updated it, that will update shortly. I'll just wait for that. Other calendars down this left hand side, if I click on that calendar, so I've now got two calendars. If I open that one up, which were overlaid, this is what this arrow does. It just overlays, so they're both sitting next on top of each other, which is quite cluttered. So you might not want that one, so I'll take that one off, and let's just put UK holidays on, and that one is now sitting overlaid, as it's called. So you can see that the holidays are already there: Good Friday, Easter Day, etc., Easter Monday. So the holidays are already on this calendar. If you don't want them overlaid, you can have them like so. I'll take that one off. Now in calendars, you've got the option to add a calendar. So from address book, you can select somebody from there. You can share a calendar, share. You've only got one there to share, and then it gives you these options. So you can let people see, or you can let them edit. If you give full permissions, somebody else can actually manage your calendar. I'm not going to do that for anybody. Click OK to that. You can create your own calendar. So down here we've got lots of calendars, and there's Teams calendars. All these are calendars from Microsoft Teams. I just tick that on. There's not a lot going on there. So you can have quite a few different calendars, and you can manage if you've got permissions. So the person's giving you permissions to edit. You can sort of sit editing and giving appointments to any of these people if you so wish. And if you just right click on there, you can do a new calendar, or you've got the option at the top there. So you can create calendars for, if you do football training or things like that, you can just create a calendar for your football training and have it in this list, and you just tick it on and off when you don't want to, on when you want to use it and off when you don't want to use it. So that is how you create an appointment and how you manage your calendars. Across the top, when you go into an appointment, let's just go back into this one or click on it. So the meeting tab becomes active on the top there. So I'm not even in the appointment, but you've got this option here, meeting notes. So if I click on that, it's going to start up OneNote. So I can actually share this. This is going to be a Teams meeting, so I could share this with everybody who's on that meeting. But just for this example, I'm just going to click on this option, which will open up OneDrive, not OneDrive, OneNote, and that one there, general info, is what I want. And then I've got my meeting notes on this tab down here, and then you feel your boot, you should type away during the meeting, making notes as you wish. You don't need to save anything in OneNote, it just saves automatically. When you create a meeting or an appointment, you can sometimes have things running into each other. So if I go back to the week view, for example, let's just create an appointment. So I'll just call it test for now. So that's 9 o'clock to 9:30, save and close. And then this is going to be 9:30 to 10, and I'll call that testing. So there is no space between these two meetings, and if you have to physically go to these meetings, you want some time to walk between the two venues. So what you can do in Outlook is, if I go back into options, you can put a delay on the calendar, on the meetings. So shorten the appointment meetings. So I'll tick that. So you've got to either end early or start late. So I'll leave it on end early. And if the meeting is less than 1 hour, it's going to be ending 5 minutes early. Or if it's more than 1 hour, 10 minutes. I'll click OK to that. That's all I want to change. And then if I double click into that, that still says 9 o'clock to 9:30. That's okay. And if I double click into this one, that still says 9:30. So let's just create another one. So I'll call this tested. So there you go, look, there's a 5-minute early mark. And then if I do one straight after it, 11:25, let's call that Steve. Okay, so you've now got a gap between that particular meeting. You can just about see it there. So you can increase that if you so wish, but that's basically to allow you to physically move from point A to point B. Okay, so that's all I want to talk about on this. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and I'll see you on the next one. What we're going to look at in this session is how to use the Quick Steps feature and how to create a PST file. So first of all, Quick Steps. Here's the Quick Steps feature, and I'm going to just drop this arrow down and click on New Quick Step, and the option I'm going to choose is Move to a Folder. So basically you give this one a name. So I'm going to call this Scheduling, and then I'm going to choose a folder for this to move to, Scheduling, and then click Finish. And then I've just had an email come in there. I'll click on Scheduling, and it immediately moves it into Scheduling. So using Quick Steps, although you haven't got much space to create too many, is a very quick way to manage your emails and put them into folders that you've previously created. So the scheduling folder was previously created, and you can see it on the left hand side. It's one of these folders down here. So first off you create the folder, then you can do the quick step. So that was the use of quick steps. To create a PST file, slightly different. I need to go File, Account Settings again, and then Data Files. You can see I've got quite a few here. I'm going to click Add, and it's gone to the same location. I'll call this Test so you can see it, and I can delete it later on. So Test, and I click OK to test, and then that should appear at the bottom like so. I'll close that down. So I've created a PST file. Now I just have to find it down my left hand side, looking for test. And there's all the other ones I've got. So basically what a PST file is it's a mechanism to create some extra space and save email messages and folders onto your C drive or onto a shared drive, wherever, and not take up your mailbox space. So basically what I can do now in test, if I just right click there, I can go New Folder and call it Test1, new folder, call it Test2, and so on. And you basically create your folder structure as you would from your inbox, but this particular one is sitting on my C drive, so it does not affect my mailbox size. Now, I'm not saying for a moment put this on your C drive. It needs to go on a drive that's backed up by the network, but it does give you scope for having a lot more emails stored in a folder list. So that's quick steps and a quick look at how to create PST files. That's the end of this session. Thank you very much.